to realize when, sort of reach childhood, your family reunions or weddings and funerals. And I hadn't talked to my uncle in a while, and he was from Massachusetts. We were talking about what I do for a living, and I mentioned that, can you hear me with this? Is it working? Okay. You may remember we had a, public comment period in Dansville. And, there were some folks there that were a little bit concerned about fracking, and I think some of the folks in the room may have been here. And I went to express the Congressman's opinions, which are positive on drilling. And I was, loudly booed by some of the folks. And I had mentioned that to my uncle just as an anecdote, and he was very concerned that I was presenting a positive opinion. He goes, "Didn't you see Gasland?" And again, this is somebody from Massachusetts where they're not drilling, and that's what he had heard. So I think it's very important that a movie like this gets made that dispels some of the myths that are out there about the natural gas industry. And another thing I found interesting was there was a mention at the very end of Gasland 2, with his contract, Josh Fox's contract with HBO for a sequel to Gasland. That is in production. I do know that because Mr. Fox is a storyteller, and if you're going to tell a story, you need conflict. You need a hero. I think he views himself as the hero of his own story, but you also need a villain. And for Gasland 2, they were looking for a villain, and so we were contacted in our office by the producers. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
The producers from HBO, and I think they thought that a Republican congressman from Southern Tier who was pro-gas drilling would make a good villain for their movie. We got the impression that they were going to try to come in and interview Tom and splice his words to say Congressman Reed is in the pocket of the gas companies or something along those lines. I thought we did not agree to be interviewed by Mr. Fox. But Gasland 2 is coming. And so I want to let you know that Congressman Reed is pro-drilling. He's certainly not in the pocket of anybody. His conclusion has been reached through independent observation, through analysis of reports from all sides. I can say for myself, working on his staff, I've been to Pennsylvania 6 times. We've gone with industry representatives, we've gone without industry representatives. We've met with people that are against drilling and gone and seen what they want to show. And, well, the things that you see in Gasland are very much overly dramatized, as the movie showed after. So the final reasoning by the Congressman came to a positive conclusion, with, let me be clear, with strict enforcement of reasonable regulations of the state DEC, a positive conclusion on gas drilling is two simple. And one is job. The biggest problem in this country right now, we are in a long-term employment crisis. And natural gas drilling has the opportunity to produce a large amount of economic, new, real, and not government money being passed around, but real economic activity in Southern Tier of New York. Not only for the folks that are landowners, but also the secondary industries, lodging, restaurants, anything you have to do to make life livable for new folks coming into the gas industry is going to benefit as well. And most importantly, is obviously the decision on whether to allow gas drilling or not to allow gas drilling ultimately lies with the state DEC, and perhaps the state legislature, and different rules there. The Congressman, has a different role, federal role. But there is a federal implication of all this, something that is truly a federal role, which is the national security of the United States. And our dependence on foreign petroleum sources is a direct threat to national security of the United States. And by expanding, in all capacities, because I don't want to, when I say the Congressman has a positive position on drilling, I don't mean to say he has a negative position on any other source, but he doesn't. He has a positive position on wind and solar, on nuclear, on nuclear fusion technologies being developed, on anything that can be done. And all of the above approach to end our country's dependence on foreign petroleum. Natural gas, the domestic natural gas, is a huge part of that. And we can put ourselves in a long-term situation where trying to manipulate that position. Obviously, it's an election year. You know, there's an election for Congress as well as other offices. Ithaca is now in the same congressional district as Southern Tier. And I know that folks in that Democratic primary were fighting all over themselves to see if we could get this, like we are against Shilling as they could. So you're going to hear both sides in an election year. But one thing you may want to tell your friends is even the President of the United States, who is, you know, not the first person you expect to be in favor of hydraulic fracturing being used domestically, stated in the State of the Union that he was positive on natural gas development, on hydraulic fracturing. That's President Obama. Again, not maybe the first person you expect. That's something that, I'm not up here promoting President Obama. So I would sum up like this. To scare somebody is easy. To explain something to somebody is hard. And so I really thank the folks that went into to take an attempt to try and dispel the fear that has been generated by folks that have a particular agenda, and to try and generate bring truth and facts and scientific evidence as they see it to the public. And so we have a great opportunity in Southern Tier. We have to do it safely. We have to do it responsibly. We have to make sure that the regulations that are ultimately put in place are strictly enforced and that the funding is available to do it. However, for the national security of the United States and for massive employment opportunities, both direct and indirect, it generates, Congressman Reed believes we should move forward, that we should be under the direction of the DEC, not the direction of the EPA, not the federal bureaucracy, moving forward